Hello, hello, hello. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Coaxum Report. This is Terry Coaxum. You can join us on our TV.network, listen to us on WSTX Bloomberg. You can also join us on Roku. You can join us on Amazon Fire, on Android. We're on the marketplace. We're empowering and encouraging business. And I am truly happy to have my sister from another Miss Karen Green. I'm happy to have Karen Green join us today. Karen Green is running for Congress, and I am super excited to have Karen. She's going to be our special guest. She's going to talk to us a little bit about her race down in Florida and what we can do to get involved and help her to get over the finish line. And I'm also going to have my co-producer, Anthony Weeks, is also joining us today to talk a little bit about what we're doing here in the marketplace to really kind of make sure that our studio audience is involved. Again, you can catch us on Android, on Apple, on Roku. And look like we're having a little bit of difficulties with Karen Green coming into the show. But Karen Green is running for Congress, and we're 24 days out from our November election. And so want to really kind of horn in on Karen's platform and what she's looking to have us do to help her get over the finish line. And we're going to have Anthony chime in. I know we don't have a lot of time with Anthony today. So Karen, tell us a little bit about what you're doing and how we can help you get over the finish line.
Well, thank you again, my sister Terry. Brother Anthony, hey, this is where we started and
Yeah.
had an unfinished task. We made it through the pandemic. We made it through all the challenges we faced. But more important, we made it through January 6th. But
Yeah.
more importantly, right here in Florida, you hear the sounds behind me because we made it through Ian. And Ian was horrible. So all the sounds you hear moving are trucks and tractors. And I literally just I was hoping to be in studio with you, but I went through two meetings today, union and looking for the relief programs of folks who are recovering in the district from this. So
Absolutely.
yes, we have been hardworking, most of us here. You guys have been doing it from the ground, internationally, economically, and socially. And you get to a place where you just can't sit back anymore.
That's right.
And that's where I'm at. And for those reasons, I decided to run only in the summer of this year. I thought, with everything that has happened, pandemic, economic hardship, what we saw as an inevitable recession, and then we saw a war coming, and then particularly in my state, in Florida, we saw redistricting, disenfranchising so many of us Black and brown people, more so immigrants. And
Yes.
so I decided I just couldn't sit back anymore. January 6th was bad enough. And so I'm here. My platform, as you asked, is really about making sure that pocketbook issues, many of us knew that you guys on this program tried to make sure people, small businesses, the economy survived, and many people did not get the benefits. Many people are still struggling because they ran out of money or they
Yeah.
were
Okay.
making their applications. You guys, we pleaded to them, and somehow folks didn't just get there. So I'm here now because our pocketbook issues matter. I'm running to procure the freedoms, not only for women, environmentally based on all the hurricanes we've all experienced in the tropics, but here. And then more so, really just to make sure hardworking people like us have the American dream. So that's what I'm running on, and that's what I'm running for. I'm running in a district that was vacated by Congresswoman Stephanie Murphy, who ran here, also an immigrant from Vietnamese family. Here in Central Florida, the district was so drawn up that it used to be, it's been drawn up in a very unique way. I know this is a program that affords everyone, it's not a partisan program, but the district I'm running for is a Democratic held seat, and I'm trying to hold that seat. And I'll tell you more about this as we go on. But yeah, that's it, sis. And Anthony, you guys, we've been here. I love you both like real family. And I thank you for taking the time today, giving me this last minute push. I need help. I need help because you all know me. People think I'm an establishment person, but I'm running a campaign that is really from the heart. And it's really the people in the district.
And it's
And so,
grassroots. It's grassroots because you've been on the ground doing this for a long time. As long as I've known you, Karen, you've had Dr. Karen Green. Let's put some respect on it, right?
so
Dr. Karen Green, for as long as I've known you, you've been doing the work. You've been lifting the heavy lift. Whether it's been the immigrant community, the Black and brown community, any community, anybody in need, you've always done the work, whether it's there in Florida, in the Virgin Islands, here in New York. Anytime we called upon you, you were always ready, always willing. And, your resources are very unique. And I mean, Florida is very, they're in a unique position to elect a leader that actually have, the experience to take them to the next level. And so I'm super excited to have you on the show. I'm super
Thank
excited
you.
to have you on the ballot.
Thank
And I know Anthony wants to chime in here a little bit because I know we can't keep him the whole time, but
you, my brother.
I'm happy about this race.
Thank you, Terry.
You're welcome.
Well, congratulations, Dr. Karen Green, for the decision that you made to avail yourself for public office. You and I have had numerous conversation about that desire, that goal, that ambition, and a sense that you can do more if if you served in office. You have been a political operative for many years. I met you through uh, the first time here on St. Croix in the U.S. Virgin Islands
Yes.
when you were in charge of the Hillary Clinton presidential campaign and responsible for uh, the Caribbean diaspora
Hmm.
and territories to galvanize that support with Hillary Clinton, and later on, you also was chosen by Michael Bloomberg to head up his committee on all U.S. territories for his presidential bid. Now, the reason why that's important is because uh, I'm going to do something that I don't normally typically do because I understand the nature and the seriousness of politics. Politics is like religion; it's very personal. You can only give people the information and then let them choose on their own. But I'm going to appeal to not only the people of the Virgin Islands, but all of the Caribbean diaspora and other immigrants that love this country, that want more for themselves and their family. Why? Because why is that important? Right now, as we speak, within Congress, there are all kinds. I think there's immigrants represent something like anywhere between 14 and 17% of the U.S. Congress. Now, interestingly enough, the Caribbean folks, the English speaking Caribbean House of Representative members, are connected to the Caribbean, but they were not born directly out of the Caribbean. Our rock star, she hero, Representative Congresswoman Stacey Plaskett, who represent the U.S. Virgin Islands, her parents are from the U.S. Virgin Islands, but she was born in New York. Same thing with Yvette Clarke. Yvette Clarke, her parents are from Jamaica, but Yvette was born in New York. And the same thing with the representative from Nevada as well. I don't remember offhand, but Bermuda as well as Nevada as well. None of these individuals were born directly out of the Caribbean. So it is important to understand that history can be made going into the 118th Congress by electing Dr. Karen Green because she would be the first, if you will, of recent times,
Yes.
direct born from Jamaica,
Yes, sir.
living and serving in her capacity in Orlando, Florida. Why is that so important? Let me tell you why it's important. If anyone that has known me broadcasting on WSTX for almost 20 years and having the organization that is dealing with macroeconomic issues, public policy issues, I have hammered away, I have advocated, I have talked about the fact that if the U.S. Virgin Islands is going to have parity, if the U.S. Virgin Islands is going to have political capital, our Congresswoman Stacey Plaskett is doing a yeoman's job in Congress. But the reality is, she cannot vote on the general floor. She can serve on subcommittees, she can head up committees, but that is as far as her vote goes. You've heard me talk about championing more Virgin Islanders. Why? Because we are U.S. territory. We get to also have representation in Congress. And if we have more, if you will, allies in Congress, that understand the challenges and the issues that we face in the Caribbean. The Virgin Islands has an important critical role that they have to play and can play, but we cannot do that by ourselves. We need to have the ability to vote. The, we need to have the ability to be able to say, when we care about an important issue, we have to have the ability where others are going to stand up and say they're going to cast their vote to support the U.S. Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, and all of the territories. And what it means. Dr. Karen Brown, she loves the Virgin Islands. She loves a 2+2. She always every time we talk, every time she wants to know how it's 2+2, how is Stumpy doing?
Yes.
Okay. So she has a personal love and affection and connection to the Virgin Islands and the people of the Virgin Islands. And I'm today asking you to support, whether you yourself living in the Virgin Islands or by extension, your family and friends and coworkers and business colleagues in Florida, particularly in Orlando. I'm encouraging you to go out and support Dr. Karen Green for Congress, not only with a vote,
but with a
but
donation.
tell all your friends and your family members, your coworkers, but we also want you to donate to her
That's right.
cause.
Oh,
Absolutely.
thank
There
you.
isn't a whole lot of time left
That's
to
right.
do
24
that.
days.
November
Less
8th
than
is around the
24 days.
corner.
Yes.
But this is serious.
Yeah.
What I have championed and talked about for many years on WSCX, and I talked about the importance of the Virgin Islands representation in Congress. While we are afforded an opportunity to vote for the President of the United States only in the primary, we don't get to vote in the general election.
Yes.
Okay? Our representative in Congress, delegate to Congress, Stacey Plaskett, can serve in subcommittees. Okay? But she cannot vote on the floor in the general floor.
Yeah.
Having a voice and a partner, Stacey Plaskett will have a willing, if you will, advocate
Champion.
on the behalf of the U.S. Virgin Islands, champion those things that are important to the U.S. Virgin Islands and the rest of the entire Caribbean.
Right. And I'll take it a step further to say not only is Dr. Karen Green a champion for Florida, a champion for the Caribbean, the U.S. Virgin Island, and throughout, but for all of us. You know, like I said, I've known her for a long period of time, and we've had numerous conversations and have moved the envelope on tons of things, from procurement issues, making sure that our small business had procurement, had contracting opportunities, and that they were able to get a piece of that $1 billion pie. We've had conversations around healthcare and making sure that there is access to affordable healthcare. We've had conversations about education and making sure that there is access to education and all of those other things around this country. And so, you know, that's why I said, you know, Florida is really lucky to have someone with Dr. Green's experience. And so, you know, we really put this show aside today to make sure that everyone understands the importance of this election, and they know to go out and like Dr. Green said, this district has been redrawn. And so some of these voters she's never seen before, and they've never seen her before. And so we're encouraging those of you that are actively involved and that have family members that are in that area, or even those of you that can donate. We're asking you to come out and support Dr. Green in this election, and more importantly, to support all of us. And because that's what she's going to be, a champion for all of us. And so we just want to thank you again for being that champion. And we encourage everyone that's listening to us today to be part of that.
Why this is so personal for
Yeah.
us on a personal level, but also professionally, because the people of the U.S. Virgin Islands are listening to this broadcast.
That's right.
People of the Virgin Islands are not just native-born Atomians, Crucians, and Jonians. We have a lot of people from throughout the Caribbean that are living in the in the U.S. Virgin Islands in particular, and in Florida. But I'm speaking to the people of the U.S. Virgin Islands, both whether you're native-born in the U.S. Virgin Islands from St. Thomas, St. John's, or St. Croix, but for those of you from the rest of the Caribbean that have chosen to live in the Virgin Islands, you now will have a voice and an advocate. There's only 3 members in Congress. Of the total Congress, there are 400 and something representatives in Congress. only 3 are connected to the Caribbean. Of the 400 plus members in Congress, the Caribbean only has 3 voices. And we need to be able to add another voice,
Yes, we do.
another seat to the table.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Her vote, by virtue of her being a Caribbean born, a U.S. citizen, serving in Congress out of Orlando. And we have a great deal of Caribbean diaspora and Virgin Islands diaspora living in Florida.
That's right.
And so this is personal for me because, number one, she is a part of the team, the SETI case, the Caribbean America Single Economy Initiative, that you've heard her voice, you've seen her, you've heard her on this program. And this is the support. This is our way of supporting her.
Absolutely.
She made it through the primary. She made it through the primary. She's now in the big, she's on prime time. She's now going for the big prize, November 8th. And so therefore, I'm asking you to support her, whether you can vote for her, tell your friends, your family, your colleagues.
Right.
If you can't vote, you can support her financially.
That's right.
We need to have a real vote in Congress. While our delegate to Congress cannot vote, we will have a champion in Dr. Karen Green as a reliable, trusted vote for the people of the Virgin Islands and all of the Caribbean, because that's who she represents. That is her constituency. And I'm personally asking and appealing to you, the public, in television land and radio land. Let's elect another Caribbean person to Congress so we have another chance of strengthening our political capital and creating parity in Congress.
Anthony, I have to chime in now. First of all, we all need to understand that my brother Anthony has never done this.
No, this is your unique show. This is really a unique show.
I have never known him to have stepped out with this level of intensity and conviction and support.
Yeah, it's unprecedented.
Because of his approach to just being nonpartisan. Anthony, I am asking you, I'm telling you today that the confidence you've entrusted in me is the same amount of entrusting responsibility I will take in the votes of those who are supporting me. Yes, you're right. My dear sister, our beloved Representative Stacey Plaskett,
that's our girl,
sister friend. She is my strong supporter, arm, and confidant, and I yield to her guidance and support.
Yes.
There is no question that I'm looking forward to being able to support the initiatives that will empower us, not only from the region, but historically from the region.
Yeah.
For every woman in this country whose freedom has been challenged.
That's right.
Literally taken away. I want to support her in so many areas because, as you know, the boundaries we have that they're all talking about.
That's right.
We talk about this on the show all the time, about our southern border, the third border in this country, that people don't see as one of, they talk about protecting borders. What we have is an economic necessity, an enrichment from our region. And you, Anthony and Terry, have been on this. You from the SBA, making sure that the businesses were procured and investments were made. And Anthony, you're making sure that technology and investments and banking and finance was all procured. Listen, I'm in a race right now that is neck and neck.
That's right.
I'm running against an establishment Republican, one that was actually endorsed by the former President Trump. And I'm not typically one to call my candidates name my opponents because you just don't do that in elections, right? And so for me, I'm not even going there today.
Right.
But where I'm going is that we have an opportunity here. Not only are you going to have someone that is going to be there to support each and every person in this country, every working class person, one who believes that the borders we're looking to procure, to block us from, is really our economic lines. It's really the borders of our feminine bodies, and it's the borders of redlining. Redlining because of economics is why we have these borders. This country was built by immigrants, and there's no question anybody can deny that.
Right.
And to think that over the last maybe 15 years, somehow we've just become alienated, ostracized, or seen as some other brand, it doesn't make sense to me. But I'm not even going to touch that now. I want everyone to know that we cannot have a repeat of what democracy almost lost on January 6th. My opponent is an election denier, a climate denier, a woman enforcement. We can't begin to go there. But the freedoms that we know, what we would have in Congress is another Margaret Green. And we need to send somebody else there. So I'm saying to you this afternoon, I'm appealing to the listeners on this program. You know who I've been, you know where I'm at, and you know what I'm prepared to do for our country. Because remember, Congress is a holding line. Our freedoms are literally at stake if we don't move on this. My opponent has actually missed and rejected 5 debates, today being one. He has not debated me since, and I can understand that because I'm not coming from a wealthy place. I'm coming from a truth place and one where we represent each person. So today it's not about a campaign pitch for me. It's about presenting myself back to my constituents, my people, my Caribbean, Black and brown and Asian and Latin, and everybody who sees us from where we are. I've been here. I've been protecting folks and their on the advocacies for all these things we've talked about today. You all know me. I'm one of those humble people who don't even know how to beg for money. But right now, I'm at a place where I'm not taking any special interest resources because I don't want to be owned. I don't want to get to Congress and be literally instructed what to say or do. And Anthony can relate to this. I think we're beyond that now. In the state of Florida, for over 2 decades, we've been losing battles, races. And you all know, everybody who knows me, that when I get in a campaign, I win. No matter where you send me, in the battleground area, in the continent, in the Pacific, across borders, Democrats abroad, wherever, I'm in the habit of winning races. And so for me, it is about going this grassroots. It's about engaging people on their level. It's about recognizing the issues, the initiatives, homelessness, veterans and their families, the disabled who are faceless, people who are homeless now for more reasons than one. Not only did the pandemic cause homelessness because of lost income, but because the housing market has now gone so industrial. So, Anthony, you can relate to this as well, that the same crisis we faced prior to the housing crash, where we had foreign investors coming in and owning these homes because we no longer have generational wealth being transferred, it has hit Florida. The cost of housing in Florida and rent is it's at its highest. And just think right now that people who not only lost their jobs, but now the hurricane has literally left some homeless. And people can't afford this. So we have this, it's a big task here. My district, because of redrawing, has now given me two counties. I now have all of Seminole County, which is basically just south of the Space Coast, on the border, coming all the way down to Orlando, and half of Volusia County up to almost to Daytona Beach. DeLance is a big district, and it's a district that is diverse, just like we are in the Caribbean. You know, it's everybody here. And so this afternoon, I'm taking the opportunity to remind folks that our freedom is at stake. I want to go there to be a freedom protector. I want to get to Congress to represent us with a crisis people see as immigration crisis. We know it's a humanitarian desire that needs to be resolved. Anthony, you and I have spoken about this before, that some of the migration is because we need to be fixing people's economic problems where they are in their countries. It's because of some cases political unrest, in some cases economic hardship, and in some cases people just see the American dream like I did and want to experience it. So we need to create those kind of diplomacy, and we need to get to places where we don't have unnecessary wars. So I'm not going to get too much into the platform because I want to invite people to go to KarenGreenforFlorida.com. That's KarenGreenforFlorida.com. My entire platform is there. I've been endorsed by most of the caucuses, but my most important caucus that I represent is the AFL-CIO, all of the labor union workers. Labor is the part of our industry, and one of the bills that I think was also very profound and was the for me it's the unison of making things happen here that we need to really take care of. My brother has always talked about the technology resources that's there in the U.S. Virgin Islands. The CHIPS Act that happened this year with technology and improvement and creating these jobs for our folks. Terry and Anthony, I can't wait to be able to deliver the reality of our experiences, the strength of my experience, and the willingness to represent the people in our community and across this globe and in our country. So please, again, I've never seen any of you doing this, because in both cases, you have both been representing federal positions and basically being inclusive of all people, as I am. But right now, I'm running as a Democrat, wanting to represent everybody, nonpartisan Democrats, Republicans, and unregistered, whoever you are. You have an opportunity to vote now, regardless of what party you're affiliated to. It's either me or my opponent who you're sending there, who doesn't believe that this president was duly elected. He's an election denier. I don't even know how he's running. He doesn't believe in anything. This is the same guy who basically the CHIPS Act would not benefit him because he's one who believes in Chinese investment. He literally sold tear gas to China to use on civilians in Hong Kong. And I believe this is the same person whose tear gas was used on Black Lives Matter. Now, keep in mind that tear gas is it's the least lethal of any military weaponry. But when used on civilians to make yourself wealthy, I believe we don't need this in this time. I think at this point, what we need is to find ways and means of using the infrastructure bill, the transportation bill, the CHIPS Act, and all the other things that we have gone and worked hard on this program to do. I humbly ask you this evening, wherever you are listening this afternoon, I'm a praying woman, but I'm up against Goliath in this race because of resources. I win in most cases modestly. I'm not taking any establishment money. I'm asking you to chip in today. Those are the trucks moving repair stuff.
Offering a relief.
Yeah, they're pulling all these wood and stuff. We still have folks without utility, without light, water.
Wow.
The rivers in my area, the St. John's River in my district is supposed to still be rising and will not recede until the end of the month, they're projecting.
Wow.
It's real, folks. So I need
a lot of people that's been impacted by both Fiona and Ivan. Right.
Still happening. Still happening.
We're our prayers and our thoughts are going out definitely to Florida for all of those that it's impacted at this time. And we do see in the background some of the movement with the relief efforts going on, and we commend them for bringing a relief to that community and for being a part of it.
I definitely took the time this afternoon because I need to get back out there. Folks want to see you, knowing that you're supporting them, because as you all know that when the storm passes, like we did in Hurricane Andrew, Maria, Ian, Ivan, all the horrible ones we've been through, that it takes a while.
Yeah.
We now have the numbers today projecting over 100 people have died from the Ian here in Florida.
Really? Wow.
And it's horrible.
Yeah.
So I just ask you, and again, I'm hugging you from a distance. How I am.
We're hugging you guys.
I just pray, I thank you, and I also want to just reach out to the voters in the district. I am so blessed to have your representative, Stacey Plaskett, as my supporter. I'm so blessed to have her as an ally, and I look forward to the days when we can look to see what we can do to make our folks, our representative. I long for the day when people in the U.S. Virgin Islands, the U.S. American Samoas, and Mariana Islands, and all of the Pacific Islanders who are U.S. territories can have the same legacy and value of their votes. I long for that day. And I can't wait to get to Congress to help to change some of those, to benefit all of us. So please keep me in your prayers. Vote.
Absolutely.
Everybody listen, before you go, anybody who is listening, you don't have to be able to vote. As long as you're a U.S. resident or a citizen, you can chip in to make a contribution. Go to KarenGreenforFlorida.com. And I know my sister has a link here where you can make.
I will be adding it. I'll be adding it to all my social media.
Thank you. Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much. And please, so support, we're sending our support, we're sending our love and our encouragement, because we know that people are hurting in Florida. And we're just praying for the recovery efforts to be quick and for people to get what they need in this time. And so we want to thank you so much for taking your time to be with us today. We encourage you, we support you, we're hugging you. We know you're going to make it to the finish line, and we know we're going to have a champion in you,
Yes,
Dr.
yes,
because you've been a champion for all of these years. And so with your experience, we know that you're going to be able to take this thing to the next level. So we thank you so much for being a part of the Coaxum Report today.
And see you soon. I'm coming to the UVI as soon as I win. Tell
All
them
right.
to just do.
And let me close by saying that let's make history together, people.
That's
Yes.
right. That's me. And
When you elect,
I can't
when
leave
you
out
elect,
Yvette Clark. You know,
when you
Yvette
elect,
Clark's going to be
Oh,
here.
when
my
you
sister,
elect, when you elect Dr. Karen Green to the Congress, it will give us another voice and another vote.
Thank
We
you.
now have Florida. I'm putting her in Congress. We will now have Florida as a vote
Yes,
in
sir.
Congress.
Yes,
Okay.
sir. Yes, sir.
There are
Yes,
issues that are germane to the U.S. Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico, but more particularly U.S. Virgin Islands, issues that we have that we need someone to advocate for us who has a vote.
And
With
not only to have a vote that understand those issues
and they
personally.
understand the issues.
Thank you.
So
Thank
so
you.
so so let's make history together, U.S. Virgin Islands,
Let's make
and put Dr.
history.
Karen Green into office
Thank
to
you.
help support our delegate to Congress, Stacey Plaskett, to be
Yes.
able to address those policy and legislative issues to represent not only U.S. Virgin Islands, but all of the Caribbean, throughout the entire Caribbean and throughout the United States.
Thank you, Auntie, for the
Absolutely.
last
Well,
word.
thank you so much for being a part. All
Terry,
right. Take care. Be blessed.
let's
See you
go.
soon.
Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.